Member of the Senate Budget Committee, something that you're certainly, and a subject that you're certainly very familiar with here, Senator. Do you think both sides can work out a deal?
Well, I hope so. You know, it would be disruptive, certainly, if we don't have a deal done by August 2nd. Certainly, we are not going to default on our debt. The ongoing tax revenue will be more than enough to avoid that. But it would be very disruptive, and so I've argued that what we ought to do is reach an agreement well before August 2nd. And just last week, Senator Mike Lee and myself and a group of us in the Senate proposed a very simple arrangement whereby we are willing to vote to raise the debt limit by the full amount the president has requested, the $2.4 trillion, provided that the president agree to put us on a path to a balanced budget. We think that that's pretty reasonable. Even President Clinton agreed that we ought to strive for a balanced budget.
What you're feeling here, Senator, is Speaker Boehner then representing that idea? Is he representing your views properly in these negotiations, you think?
You know, Speaker Boehner's job is not necessarily to represent my ideas. I think, you know, what I'm going to try to do is persuade enough of my colleagues that that ought to be an important message. That's something that we can be for. Some of us have been pushing this idea for some time. A balanced budget, it makes common sense to most people. It's necessary for families and businesses, and you know, 49 out of 50 states are required to operate that way.
You know, what I allude to is the pressure from the right to the Speaker, so it's been said. Do you think that he is at this moment stuck in a hard place?
Well, I think it's a very tough place. You know, President Obama wants a huge increase in the size of government and a big tax increase to pay for it. So John Boehner doesn't want that. John Boehner wants less government and no increase in taxes. So sure, he's in a very tough spot. What some of us are trying to do is change the dynamic a little bit and focus not on some abstraction like several $1 trillion of spending cuts, which might end up being more theoretical than real. And how about a balanced budget? We support a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution and a set of spending caps that would get us there, not overnight, that wouldn't be realistic, but over several years. And we think that's the best thing for this economy, the best thing for job growth, and critical for our fiscal health.
Senator Pat Toomey, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Special coverage of today's presidential news conference begins at 11 a.m. Eastern with Hardball's Chris Matthews.